it's not only where you're trying to, get, activations from ancestors and things of that nature. So it's not only subjected to that. So there's a dichotomy between the two. So it's also one of those things where you're trying to channel in information, and it's also one of those things where you can probably, might be compromised by other entities.
Right. All right, BDELL, speaking, I got a question for you. Speaking of frequencies, and we're talking about these letters, extremely interesting conversation. If you came in late, rewind it to the very beginning and don't miss 1 second of this conversation. There's some important things happening right now, and information is hitting the planet that has never been around, because we are downloading. We're making a lot of downloads on this show, myself, BDELL, and the people in the chat. BDELL, so speaking of frequencies and communicating with maybe a cosmic family with these frequencies, and we're talking about the X and the Y and the Z. Now, when you make a phone call, each number has a different frequency. So it's like do, 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 do. Now 9 is WXYZ. So if you hit the 9 and you just let's say you loop, like when you hit 9, it's like do. If you loop that and you just listen to that long frequency, do you think like there's a science behind every digit having the letters having different sounds, or you think they just did that just to do it? But do you think is this like an actual science behind these numbers being connected to that particular sound? Do you think that's like some real science that we need to tap into?
Yeah, I think it's a real science, because it's also there's a certain octave frequency to even like when we speak certain languages. So it's not a coincidence, like when you hear certain words and vibrations or numbers or anything that has like on pianos or anything, it causes a biological activation. So I really believe that. I agree with you.
I'm about to loop the number 9, y'all.
Yep.
Listen to that for a long time, and I'm gonna let y'all know the result I get. I'm looping the X to Y to Z. Oh man, I tell y'all, man, this is a real extremely fun show. Let's see what y'all talking about. A good question. Yeah, thank you, Devil. Thank you, I appreciate it. Why are the people in power introducing Neuralink to steal your thoughts and ideas from the cosmic consciousness? What's your thoughts on Neuralink? I think that's must too. Yeah, Neuralink. Yeah.
When you think about this, is how you know you at the end of a system. I tell people all the time where the best way to know that you're at the end of a system where everything has to go through a revitalization process, where you have a transform of energy. Anytime a system reaches its mandated cap, when the only way they can do is devolve, to where they have a false perception behind it, to where they uphold it as it's a form of progressiveness. So that's how you know that when you have the veneration of transgenderism and things of that nature, everything that's basically hedonistic. Anytime you have hedonistic concepts of society being upheld, that's how you know it's the end of a system. So they know that these new thoughts is not going to be galvanized by the plutocracy, who is your Canaanite bloodline, because those are the ones who control the concept of group thinking in the Western world. But they know that these new energies coming in, right, are basically being galvanized by those who are connected to the planet. So they want to steal the ideas from the chosen in order to bring about a different system. Because one thing you got to understand is that, when you understand the process of Jacob's ladder in Freemasonry, right, they can, the Canaanite and the genetical structure of him, they have a capped consciousness. They can't activate nothing after the 33rd vertebrae, which is connected to the 5th chakra. So they don't have the ability to activate the crown chakra or the coronal energies that's connected to the symbology of the X, or the X solar flares that's connected to the CMEs. That these energies is coming in. They don't have the ability to ascend mentally, spiritually, and physically, and biologically. So that's, like I said, Neuralink is another way to infiltrate and intercept new thoughts from the ethers that's being activated by the chosen ones, chosen people.
What's your thoughts on these this Lionsgate that's coming up? I see some people mentioning Lionsgate in the chat. This Lionsgate portal. What's your thoughts on that? 88.
I believe it's basically the precursor to the new energies coming in. You talking about the open vortex?
Yeah.
The open vortex is around the time when you had the Montauk Project and things of that nature, when they did those experiments or whatever. But there's I think I brought it up in the last time we spoke. But there's portals that open up on this planet in 10-year increments. It goes from 1943, 53, 63, 73, 83, 93, all the way to 2023. And it starts around like August 12th, all the way to August 18th. So these new energies is coming in. That is going to be the beginning points of these new your ascension process.
I think somebody I think he just Ray Show Brother Rich, please ask the God if he has any thoughts on the flaring energies coming through this Lionsgate.
Oh yeah,
he just broke that down. Shout out to Ascending Infinite Goddess. I seen her at the awards. Shout out to that sister right there, always showing support. She calls up sometime when we have the live question and answer. So shout out to that sister right there. Let's get to, we're gonna do 2 more questions, then we're gonna get out of here. I don't understand. I see somebody keep putting this question. I don't understand this. Let me see if you understand it. BDELL, they asking, are the Anunnaki finding the war underground to free UTTU from the Getty? Do you understand what they talking about? I
don't know what that is. I don't know if they talking about Utu. Utu is another sun.
Oh, okay.
It's another sun, or I don't know what the Getty is, but there are underground wars. You have underground Anunnaki, the Danakals, which is kind of connected to the Yakub story and things of that nature.
What they call the Nakals?
The Danakal tribe.
Yeah.
You have the Danakal. It's part of the same concept when you have 200 fallen angels, when you understand the book of Enoch, and then some went inside the planet when you had great calamity. They went inside the planet in order to escape, the afflictions that was on the surface. You have Taro, and you got the Shiuk, which is the Danakal tribe. There are basically branches of the Anunnaki that came to this planet.
I see somebody commented on the James Webb telescope. What's your thoughts on that? You think that's a bunch of bullshit? Do you think it's revealing something? Then they're lying about some? How accurate do you think?
I haven't looked into that. Like what they saying about it.
They're saying they're able to see space like they were never able to see space before. I think they spent $20 million to make this telescope. So this is like this telescope is giving them a brand new perspective on space right now. They can see clearer images. So they're saying a lot. It's supposed to be a groundbreaking for the NASA community. So
interesting. I haven't looked into it. So, but just from my perspective, I really think this planet is a lot bigger than what people say. Like space is also a concept that's outside of the fermented dome that we're living in. Because this is only one of the land masses. You understand? How you ever looked into the land mass beyond the ice wall? So, like I said, it's I don't believe like the Earth is flat. I think it's a lot bigger than what they say. I think it's an Earth with many different Earths outside the firmament.
Why do you think when we were young and we break up with somebody, like we go out with somebody, I'm dating a girl or a girl's dating a guy, after we break up, we refer to that person as our ex? Okay. Is there, what reasoning would you think there's for the language to refer to somebody you used to mess with on a sexual level, on an intimate level, as your ex?
Transformation, rebirth. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where, you see people in toxic relationships, they subjected into that energy, and you like, now I get a rebirth. Now I get to take my power back. I get to take my energy back. So, you know what I'm saying? Now I can focus on something else, whether it's like a form of alchemy. Because you see certain people, when they get out of bad relationships, they start losing weight. And stuff like that. So it's a form of revitalization. It's a form of transformation. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where, like, man, that's my ex. That's the past.
Yeah, that's the past.
We're on a different type of time.
Wow. Yeah, man. This is a hell of a show tonight, y'all. This was an amazing show. BDELL got business to take care of tonight. So I want to be respectful, and I don't want to keep the brother long, but wow, I'm glad. Such an interesting conversation, a very unique conversation. Very unique conversation. So I want to thank you, my brother. Tell the people how they can reach you, my brother. Your YouTube channel or any other way they can reach you, and any shows you got coming up that you might want to let them know about.
Okay, you can reach me at BDELL1014, BDELL1014 on all platforms. My next YouTube video, I'm gonna be this is basically gonna be a precursor to the next video. I'm talking about the mysteries or the esoteric aspects of the letter X. So we're going to be breaking all that down when we're talking about pestilence, solar flares, cosmic radiation that creates genetical upgrades. We're going to be breaking everything down. So that's going to be my next video.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Hey, family, I want to thank you for tuning in. I got Wesley Muhammad is coming on to tomorrow night, family. So
very different on the planet.
Right.
Because the spiritual significance of the sun pulsating is that it basically vibrates the third eye. So when you understand that the inception of human consciousness is an orb of light, which is your ethereal state, right? That works in tandem with the energy of the sun. So one thing you got to understand is that Metatron's cube basically sucks up microscopic waves of energy that basically subjugates the magnetic field of the body. So when the body is in a form of spiritual subjugation, which is a form of spiritual entrapment, it basically subjugates the capillary fields. The capillary fields are basically beams of electrons that work off transverses of light of electrical energy that implements acceleration of plasma energy that works in tandem with the carbon body by way of magnetism. So the magnetism in itself works in tandem with the sun, because like I said, we all know that carbon is the building block of all civilization. So with that being said, this is a time of karmic retribution, whether you think it, whether you speak it. It's one of those things where the ethers is being activated by way of manifestation. So as I was saying before, you know, ever since the solar eclipse, that was basically the black sun passing off a purifying energy to the sun simulator. So it's basically, you know, opening up the doors of the interstellar gateways that takes you to the higher dimensions, not just on the physical perception, but based on a mental perception as well.
So the sun we see in the sky is the sun simulator. That's what you're referring to.
Yeah,
as the sun.
basically opposite. The reason I got that concept because there's a sigil in the Freemasonic rites. They show you that there is a spiritual sun outside of the dome, which is a star Polaris, and then you got the sun and the moon that's basically connected to the dualistic paradox of the energy extraction matrix. So it's basically working off fractions of light from the spiritual sun that's out of the dome. And then it also shows the womb of creation, the black sun. So that's why I said the black sun passed off an energy to the sun simulator for the great purifier. So this is in conjunction with the Hopi prophecy as well. When you're talking about the blue star Kachina, which is the 9th and final sign before the great day of purification.
What's the great day of purification?
It's basically like a purifier. So anytime that you speak truth, the truth has an octave vibration that works in tandem with the sun. So when you understand that, you know, ancient Proto-Semitic languages, ancient Moabite languages, it's all connected to the alphabetical symmetry of light. So when you have an octave vibration that connects with the sun by way of magnetism, because ancient Proto-Semitic languages are basically highly magnetic. So the European Albion dialect in itself is an electrical language. So that's why a lot of times we're not able to manifest the way we're supposed to. You can manifest, you know, just by way of the energy of your, you know, your mind being in alignment with, you know, with your goals and your manifestations or whatever. But we'll be able to manifest a lot more, you know, intrinsically if we was tapped into our octave languages, tonal languages.
What would be an example of an octave tonal language, you think, in antiquity?
Ancient Moabite, ancient Proto-Semitic, all those languages. So that, like I said, it's a pulsating energy with the sun that's going on right now. It's a pulsating energy. So like I said, it connects you to the ethers. That's what this is all about. Anything that you speak, anything that you think is going to manifest a lot more faster than it did 5 to 10 years ago. Just like the guy, I know you've seen that that cop, he unalived a young boy, a black boy, and he was going for his information in a glove department, and the cop killed him. And then the father turned around and did the same thing to the cop's daughter on prom night. So, like I said, it's a form of karmic retribution with many different things that takes place, because negative energy begets negative energy, positive energy begets positive energy. It all depends on what vibration that you're projecting out, in the simulation.
Wow, what an earful. What you mentioned the blue star Kachina. What was that? You put up a video and it's flowing all over TikTok of a girl was in, I think, Portugal.
Yeah.
And his blue comet came flashing through the sky.
Yep.
What was that? What was that? Because you put, what was that exactly?
Well, in my opinion, I think that was one of the ninth and final signs or whatever, because I got many different publications that basically talks about when you study astronomy, meteors or comets or asteroids are not really blue. So in my opinion, I think that was kind of the ninth and final sign before the Great Purification period, because now when the precursor to what's going on right now, you got 6 planets that's basically in alignment right now. And that happens like every 100 years. So this phenomenon and all these celestial anomalies that's taking place, this is, it's not a coincidence that it's actually taking place during the karmic year of 2024, which is known as the 8 year. So everything is a form of karmic retribution. So like I said, that's in alignment with the Great Purification. And then you also heard about those 9 pillars of light that was in Japan. You heard about that?
No, what happened with that?
It was they showed like different beams of energy coming from the sky. It was 9 pillars of light. And then it's also not a coincidence that during that time period you had Japan, they're looking for so-called black men to basically procreate with their women for $75,000, right? So that means that the pulsating energy of the sun has the ability to break down the genetics of the people who are not basically connected to the planet. When you understand the recessive genetical traits and the delineation between 6 ether and 9 ether.
Indeed. Wow.
Go
ahead.
So what I'm saying is, like, the pulsating energy of the sun is like it's a certain vibration and energy on the planet, and it works in tandem with our reproductive organs, and it works in tandem with our mental faculties as well.
So if it works in tandem with our reproductive organs, the souls that are coming to the planet at this time, are they coming from a place where all other souls on this planet didn't come from, since the sun is blinking at this time? Like, where are these souls coming from?
Well, that's a good question. I can't really, specify, where the souls are actually coming from, but I know that sun is basically an interstellar vortex portal that's taking us to the interstellar gateway of the higher dimension. So we're going to have access to all these things that was, as far as the inception point of the spiritual cutoff that took place. So like I said, you got the firmament breaking down in increments. So all these fractions of light, these gamma radiations that's hitting the planet, all this transversing into a 5th dimensional civilization. So this is why they want to merge humans with cybernetics. This is why they want to, implement transhumanism and things of that nature, because they know that the mental faculties and our spiritual gifts works in tandem with the pulsating sun. So it's another way, because technology locks down DNA.
Technology locks down DNA.
Technology locks down DNA. It's what you call the silver key. The silver key, which is the lunar light lock energy. So, like I said, it's one of those things where, as far as like Elon Musk, when he's trying to implement Neuralink or whatever, because I was telling people before, God is the highest extension of the mind, which uses elements and matter to express itself. So when your mind is working in tandem with cybernetics, you're not able to tap into your God power by way of the mental stargate. All that is connected to the energy of the sun. So they, like I said, they know that the planet is basically transmuting into a 5th dimensional civilization by way of the energy of the sun that's operating in fractions of light with the star outside of the dome.
When was the last time this planet was a 5th dimensional civilization?
I say back during the time of Atlantis.
So
during the time of Atlantis. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going back to that, like the consciousness is going to be on level of the Atlantis.
Yeah. Matter of fact, there's a movie that came out. It was because a lot of people's their perception of a fifth dimensional civilization is by way of, you know, because, you know, things are basically producing intrinsically on a technological level on the planet. When there's a movie that came out where you could hear people's thoughts, literally, so where they weren't able to speak, you would be able to see a person and you'd be able to hear their thoughts, and you won't have to speak. It's kind of like a telepathic language where you have kinetic abilities and things of that nature. That energy is going to come right back to the planet by way of the energy of the sun. So like I said, this all works in conjunction with our spiritual gifts, because our spiritual gifts works in tandem with our sexual power. So like, as I was telling you before in the Mental Stargate video that I was putting out, your sexual biological fluids is your cosmic fuel, you know, for astral travel. So this is like I said, they want, you know, you can't spill the cup of Hermes. Hermes is Melchizedek. Melchizedek is Thoth. So the spirit of Melchizedek, they want you to spill your cup of Hermes, because when your cup is not full, that means that you're basically subjugated by the three-dimensional construct of the matrix. You know what I'm saying? You got too many holes inside your aura to where you leak out energy. So that's why I'm saying, like, your sexual power works in tandem with our spiritual gifts, and your spiritual gift works in tandem with the pulsating sun.
Wow.
So it's like a trilateral connection.
Yeah, so sexual discipline is absolutely necessary at this time.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Sexual discipline, semen retention or whatever. But, you know, this is why they propagate people like Sexy Red, and they do all the sexual proclivities and sexual degradation and sexual gratification. That's why they implement that. Because like I said, it's not a coincidence that, you know, when you watch, sexually gratifying type of, you know, when people who watch porn or whatever, it's not a coincidence they call it XXX, because they know that our X gene is acclimated to our spiritual gifts.
Indeed.
That's not a coincidence they call it X-Men. Because they could have, you know what I'm saying, they could have called it YYY, ZZZ. Why would you call it XXX?
I asked you that question. We did a show on the power of X. Remember that show we did on the power? Yeah, and we brought that up. We was talking about that's powerful, yo. That's some powerful shit. That's why they call it XXX. Wow. Damn.
So like I said, as far as going back into the correlation of the sexual energy, like I said, the more intense the sun gets,